So designing a data strategy. Um, and I've kind of specifically put here a data strategy as opposed to an open data strategy. I mean, you can read it both ways, right? If your organization wants to define an open data strategy, great, it's the same process. But really, we're looking at just a wider data strategy, with open data being a component of that. So the first thing that we kind of do with different organizations is look at a data audit. So this is when they come and say, where do I start? What do I do? First, they want to be able to understand, well, what data do you hold? What data do you manage? And to have a little look around that. So first of all, identifying the data sets that you own, that you manage, that you work on a day-to-day basis. And that can be across many different units. So maybe it's like everyone will have different kinds of information. It could be from like we worked with Dublin Bus recently, and then they look at different operational from the bus running piece, the scheduling, the HR, the management piece, the financial element. There's just across the board lots of different elements, of course, where you have data sets that could be of value to reuse. So from that data inventory, you're looking at, well, kind of recording some information around it so that you can kind of make a decision. So the maintenance of that data, is it kept up to date? How is it managed? Who processes it? Its importance to the organization, is it something that is really critical for the business to run smoothly? Do we use it hourly, daily, monthly, annually? How complete is it? The quality of the information? Its potential for sharing internally. So if we share this with another unit, could that be of use to them? Or its potential for sharing externally as open data, and that might be no bother, straight away. It's some trends that are ready to go, or actually no, this is, maybe it contains critical information for competitive reasons, or of course personal reasons, and it would have to be aggregated or made de-identifiable before it could potentially be published externally as well. And then to define clear recommendations for sharing that information in a controlled environment, and that stands either internally or as open data. So the next level then is we look at a data maturity of an organization. So there we're kind of seeing, well, so you have all of these data sets that, everyone has data that they use at a day-to-day level, but what is our readiness in terms of being able to maybe use this for other purposes? That's always the key, I guess, kind of from now, like as of now or whatever, that data isn't just kind of collected for one purpose and used for one purpose. That day is gone. Now it's that the data is there, but how could it potentially be used for other purposes as well? And we should always be in that mindset with any data that how can I collect this, process it, store it, so that it's as easy as possible to use in the future. So the data maturity could be, you're at an initial stage, there's an absence of data ownership or accountability across the organization, with success dependent on individual level. So really kind of a limited maturity. And that's where, to be honest, a lot of organizations are now, that they have just this data set and it's very, very customized or defined. The data could be collected in a repeatable way. So then we're looking at, okay, it's emerging into a maturity level. There's limited management around data processes with some roles and processes defined. It could be defined, there's documented standards around data processes are set and used across the organization. So we're starting to look at a scalable level of data maturity. It's fully managed. The data processes are quantified and controlled. So there's a centralized centralized management of data across an organization, or it's actually optimized. So there's process improvement goals are set and pursued. And really you're seen as a data-driven organization. There's highly predictable processes, roles and responsibilities around that. And that's really where you want to be looking at. So we work with organizations to see, well, where are you currently? It could be initial, it could be repeatable, and where do you want to get to? And that could be within a project, within a unit, or across the entire organization. And then looking at a data strategy. And really, I'd advise all organizations that at this stage that they should have an organizational data strategy, so that there is that kind of common goal setting or common understanding of data is an important element of our business. Of course, it's not the be all and end all. There's a lot of different factors that go into running a successful organization and being business led, but data is a key resource that can be used to that, as well as the human element, the financial element, the infrastructure, and so on. So with a data strategy, you want to set clear goals and objectives for data management and use, have clear data integration goals to reduce the spread of data across the systems, to streamline data collection, increase data visibility and accessibility, make the data more actionable and easily shared. There's consistent and usable formats, and to establish clear processes for data management. That's kind of the benefits or the goals of our data strategy. And where we start with organizations is looking at, first of all, the clarity of business opportunities. So starting with the business problem. So it's not, I'm looking at a data set in front of me, what can I do with that data set? Kind of what we did a little bit earlier on at datagov.ie, but it's reversing that. So we start with our business problem. This isn't the data problem, it's a business problem. And again, when you guys came back, you went through, you're like, well, we're a bank, we're a lender, we're an insurance company. These are the things that we're looking at. And we know it's actually a challenge in our business at a minute to do X or to understand Y. That's your starting point. And then from there, you say, okay, well, that's where we want to go from a data strategy, then to work backwards in terms of, well, what's our data supply? Do we have kind of the data sets that could help us answer that? And the technology to get us there, the processes, the APIs, and so on. And then also the organizational readiness to produce and act on insights. So first of all, the organizational maturity to understand that this data is important and there's a capacity to be able to use that and bring in the other elements to help answer this business problem. And then say, if you go through that whole process of, we've identified a problem, we've identified data that could help us, give us insights, maybe not even solve, but help give us insights to address that problem, build some data models, do some cool machine learning, get some answers about, okay, we think, according to the data, if we do X, Y, and Z, that this will happen. Then you bring that to management, and is the organization, which I'm saying an awful lot, ready to act on those insights? Can they go, okay, we hear you, we agree, and then we can make it the change within the team to incorporate those recommendations? Because a lot of the time you can get to the point of presenting recommendations, but then they're not actually implemented. And I'm sure lots of you have experience of that within your own teams as well. So it's really important from the very beginning of a data strategy to understand about that as well, that, okay, this is going to give us insights that then we have to act on. And the answers the outcome may not be exactly as expected, but it's a learning process, right? And then you can improve on that, go back to your data model, improve, oh, we forgot actually to take in these factors, and work from there as well. And that is really the essence of a data-driven organization. So the data drawer platform that I mentioned at the beginning is a tool to help organize that information. It helps data publishers. Again, so it's the same slide, but I guess you should have more knowledge now about where we're coming from with, like, data.gov.ie is a data drawer platform. Data.smartdublin is as well. Energy data that I'm going to show you is as well. They're all based on this key catalog of data sources. So from a data publisher, you can identify what data sources you have in your organization, govern data in a consistent and reliable manner, and share them in a controlled way. That could be as open data, or it could be as shared data internally to particular groups or particular individuals. That's all controllable within DataDrawer. And as a data user then, either a general user or an internal user, you can easily find the data that you're looking for. You can understand it because the metadata that is there, and you can download it and use it as well.